Business Takeout presents
The Cocktale Hour with L.A. Wade.
What's up, everybody? It's your girl. This is L.A. Wade, aka Cocktails with L.A., and we are in the Cocktale Hour presented by Business Takeout, inspiring Black wealth, Black entrepreneurship. And today in the Cocktail Hour, we are joined by Mr. Ainsley Deer. Hello, sir.
Hi, what it do?
I can't wait to dive into everything that you do. But before I do, let's give a shout out to our sponsors. Banky Designs, run that. Wow, don't you feel like that was so riveting?
Yeah.
It's quite the commercial. I like, she did a good job.
It is. Official, you know what I mean?
Very official. Don't mess with Banky Designs. But you should mess with her because you do it well. You know, she does it well. Welcome, Mr. Deer. How are you today?
I'm great, thank you. Thank you for having me here. Thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure.
I like the matching blue. I think we called each other on the phone and said, "What are you going to wear?"
Yeah. I mean, you know, we're connected that way, you know?
I feel it. And the reason why I know this is because how this interview came to be is I went to the Buy Blacks Restaurant Week launch. And as everybody, the important people were going up to speak, clearly you had something important to say because you were speaking. But I couldn't hear because the people at my table were too chatty. But I heard a little portion of it at the end to let me say, this is somebody that I should talk to or should know. And that means somebody that my audience should know because I'm all about Black business. And I love what you are doing. I always start these conversations off with the question, how did you get here? So if you had to recount your whole story as to what it is that was the pivotal moment that you knew where you were going, what would you say? How did you get here?
Whew! It's a lot to unpack there. Well, first and foremost, LA, thank you so much for having me here. Gosh, guys, whomever is listening, just log into what was it? LA Media?
Oh, that's so
at the
nice.
Cocktail brand,
Yes.
and at the Business Takeout, man. Like, what you have going on here is a really, really cool concept, and your voice for, you know, not only Black women, but just, you know, the Black collective on the whole, man. So thank you so much for, you know, having me share my story. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
and Claudia, we see you. Claudia McCoy, LA. I haven't seen you in years. So glad you're doing well and looking great. You know what? Today I don't look that great, but I appreciate it. It's the jacket. I want to big up Charles from LA who sent me this beautiful jacket from the jacket shop. Wow. Like they pimped me out in my favorite team's jacket with my favorite player's number, 27. Like, come on, let's go. We're not here to talk about sports today. I mean, I know you're into sports because you played some soccer, and this is a really important time in soccer land, right?
Yes. The World Cup, you know what I mean? Go Canada.
Let's be serious. We're Africans now, so maybe it wasn't so good before. Our teams were very good for many years.
Yeah. We're pretty shit. Can you curse on here? Yeah, you can curse in here, right? Okay. Yeah, we're pretty bad, but I mean, you know, we came first in our group stages, CONCACAF group stages. So it's pretty promising. We have a kind of difficult group, but I mean, we should represent, or they should represent their country well, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely has changed in color over the last few years. So I feel very hopeful that maybe the Africans who have come to bless us will help us move forward. But
Yeah,
how do
man.
you
That
know
guy Davis. That guy
soccer?
Davis. He's a beast, man. He's a beast.
Why do you know
Sorry.
so much about why do you know so much about soccer anyway?
Well, soccer is what I started off doing in high school in Jamaica.
Really?
Right. So like
Like
I've
Jamaican
playing in
boys
Jamaica to be
or
honest with you.
reggae
I
boys?
mean I have talent, but I mean I think sorry?
The reggae boys.
The
Can you
oh man, the reggae boys. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So like I grew up idolizing the reggae boys. In fact, quick story, like when they made the 1998 World Cup in 1997, they had to play in Mexico. And then my
Yeah.
father had taken me to that game. And I was taking pictures with Theodore. I don't know if you know these guys, but Theodore Whitmore, Burton, like all of those players. So
Wow.
I fell in love with the sport around that time. Probably a little bit before that because my brother, he used to like have me watch like those soccer games on TV on Fox Sports, and he used to take me to like little corner games, and that's how I fell in love with the sport. But like when Jamaica made it to the World Cup, I was like, yo, this is me. Like I could see myself wearing the yellow, the green, and the black one day. And we haven't made the World Cup since. So yeah.
Well, they're waiting for you.
Well, I mean, I'm 37 now. I mean, I'm in pretty good shape, but
Yeah,
I'll leave that to the younger
don't
kids.
start. Don't start laying the thirst traps down because when we sent out the call to have pictures for the flyer, there was a picture that had like another head attached to your arm, and it was really interesting. That I was like soccer player, but like really like buff. So you obviously play this up in what you do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Pretty much. Um, so started off playing soccer in high school. Uh, Ended up playing soccer in the United States as well. So, just like how it was for kids in Jamaica, like most of us, especially if you're into soccer,
Hmm.
playing soccer in the States, getting a scholarship, that
Yeah.
was your way out, so to speak, in trying to make it to the bigger leagues, right? So, I always told my father, I always told my mom when I was like 15 or 16 that I wanted to go to the States. This is what I want to do. I want to play soccer.
Right.
Our parents, my parents, they didn't really have the funds to like put me through schooling. Um, yeah, to pay for schooling, so to speak. So
Right.
I needed to get a scholarship or some kind of scholarship, right? So uh, that was like my main objective was to just go to the States, play some ball, and then hopefully try and make it pro from there.
So like when you were thinking about that back, how old were you around that time?
I was about so I really wanted to go to the States at 16. I
Right.
didn't actually end up in the States until about 18 and a half
So
years.
you had already had a raw talent and a desire to play soccer
I
prior
had
to
a desire. I
yeah.
had a desire.
So when you knew that you could possibly get a scholarship, your motivation must have gone through the roof.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, I didn't get the scholarship though. So we went on trials. I went to Georgia. I went to this place called Georgia Perimeter College. Now, I didn't know that this school just like bred footballers. Just like footballers were coming in from all over the world, from France, from
Yeah.
England, from all parts of the United States. Like these were top recruits.
Yeah.
But it was a junior college, right? So, junior college at the time, I mean, it's familiar. You guys are familiar with the term over here too, right? So
Yes.
that's not necessarily university. They called
Mhm.
it college at the time. So, I mean, that was your way of getting your foot in. So I tried out for this place, went to the coach. I was like, Coach, I'm ready. I'm from Jamaica. I played club football here. I went to St. George's College. And he's like, oh, yeah, cool. Let's see what you got. Let's see what you got. He
Okay.
saw me, and then after the trials, he's like, you know, put he just had put his hand on my shoulder and he's like, "Good try, kid."
Oh
And that
wow.
was it. Yeah. And then so I went back to Jamaica, kind of deflated, but I was like, you know what? I want to play for this school because like when I went there, like I saw like a nucleus of players, especially there were some guys, a couple of black guys too from Trinidad who I just really had clicked with.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I really want to go to this school. I really want to learn from these guys and I'm gonna make it happen. Right. So told my parents what I wanted to do. They didn't have the money, obviously. So tried to find a way somehow, some way. Made an agreement with my dad that for the first semester he'll pay for. And then we're gonna try and wing it from there. Made an
Wow.
agreement, right? Yeah, because I was supposed to go to a school in Jamaica called UTech, University of Technology,
Okay.
where it I mean, when you go to that school, I mean, I really had no plan to do anything in Jamaica, but like that was just like the fail safe or the fallback plan.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom had taken me to that school, and she saw it in my face that I really didn't want to go. And so she's like, son, just make up your mind, go, and go with God, and let's see how you take things from there. So ended up going to Georgia Perimeter College in two wow, it's such a long time ago. In 2000, and I want to say 2004 in December. Yeah, we did a half semester. Yeah. Played the soccer of my life. Played the soccer of my life there.
Yeah.
Long story short, that following year, the coach really, the coach had given me, or he had offered me a scholarship to do my second year there. He wanted me to be the captain and all that stuff, right? So, long story short, I had an offer from a university called Florida International University, where their main coach, he had seen me play a tournament, and he was like, look, man, I want to give you a scholarship to come to here. No, this was Miami, Florida, right?
Okay. Okay.
Miami, Florida, 10 minutes from South Beach. He gave me the whole spiel, man. Yeah, he presented this place to me, like he packaged it, and he presented this whole place so nice to me.
But that place can be distracting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And as an 18 or 19-year-old, I mean, with who was young, dumb, and full of cum, you know. And I had a girlfriend at the time. I had a girlfriend at the time. But all I could think about was, this is the closest place to Jamaica. I had my friends there from high school. I was like, look, man, it's
Wow.
gonna be the place. And my best friend at the time, he was from Trinidad. His name was Sheldon Jardine.
Okay.
Really good player. He had a full scholarship. I mean, this guy, like they had to roll out the red carpet for him. Like they threw the kitchen sink for this guy.
Wow.
Yeah, he was getting stipends and all that stuff too. I didn't get such a nice ride. But I mean, enough to want to go there. So ended up going to Florida International University in 2005 in fall. Was playing soccer there. Didn't really have such a good first year. Was kind of distracted, kind of. But and because I went there as a sophomore, my junior year, I played really, really well. And tried to, build on that momentum into my senior year. My senior year, I started off really bad because I got into a little bit of a trouble, and I got suspended for like a few games, and like it took me a while to like gain back that momentum.
Yeah.
But long story short, after my senior year, after putting in hours of work, putting in loads of hard work to try and better myself, to try and like get to the next level, I
Yeah.
was defensive player of the year for my school. I made all tournaments. I had all these accolades, and I had an agent that had called me up to say, look, man, we want you to go pro. We've been noticing you, yeah, and we want you to go to pro, and tell me what's your deal. So we had a 1.5 hour conversation where he was just vetting me. He was just asking me all kind of questions about my background, about what I do, like what I do in my extra time, like all these things. At the end of the conversation, he had surmised that he was like, look, man, I like you, but you don't want to play soccer. That's what he said.
Wow.
Yeah, he was like, you don't want to play soccer. He broke it down to me like, and like everybody that knew me at the time when I was playing soccer back then at FIU, like that was just my identity. It was
Right.
all about soccer for me. So like I was confused. I was like, what is this guy talking about? What is this nut job talking about? And yeah, so he wanted to take me to Canada to try for Toronto FC at the time, right?
Yes.
But he was like, look, man, he's like, you're just not ready. You're just not ready. Mentally, you're just not there. It took me a while to get over that. But anyways.
What would you do to get over it? Because like your whole dreams are being crushed. Everything
it,
that you worked hard for.
you know what?
Rub it in, I'm just saying.
Yeah, it took a while to like process it and conceptualize things. But it like you don't bet against me, man. You don't bet against me. Long story short, you just don't bet against me. So I was like, I'm gonna show you, bro. I'm gonna show you. His name was Fawn. I forgot his last name. Fawn something or another, right?
Right.
But so at the time I had another agent. His name was Jerome Samuels, a fellow Jamaican. he had brought me to Jamaica. He was like, look, man, here's the plan. We're gonna have you go to Jamaica. We're gonna have you train in Jamaica so that you can prepare yourself to play football in England. So I was like, all right, cool, bet. Let's do that. Went straight to Jamaica, flew straight to Jamaica. Was preparing myself, played on this team called, I don't know if you know Harborview Football Club, Harborview FC. Shout out to Harborview FC. They had given me an opportunity to play with a bunch of elite players at the time because their coach, yeah, their coach or for Harborview, he came in from Brazil. And so when you have a foreign coach coming in from Brazil at the time, it's a huge deal.
Right.
So the players that he had recruited were a bunch of Jamaican national players, like all of those stuff, right? So, I was like, all right, cool, like let's make it happen, right? So
Yes.
went back to Jamaica, realized within the first week I hated it. Like it was like the worst experience because the facilities, Jamaica being a third world country, you know, um, things just wasn't right. Things just wasn't lining up, right? Because I'm used to being at a facility in the United States where on a whim's notice I can go to like the equipment manager and be like, yo, give me this Adidas shoes right here.
Right.
Or you have unlimited meals because you're on campus. So I never forget when my Coach Monga Eketebi, he was telling me, look, man, you better enjoy it now because when you go to pro, like, yeah, you ain't gonna get any of this. You ain't gonna get any of this. And I remember that because when I went back to Jamaica, like whenever we had water breaks, like we didn't have our squeezy bottles. Like they were literally giving us water out of like plastic bags.
Wow.
So we had to like burst it to like, yeah, like they were giving us Gatorade out of like plastic bags too. Right. So that was a real huh?
You had plenty.
Yeah. That was a real eye opener for me too, man. And furthermore, like, you know, when the players saw me coming in, they're like, yo, who's this light skinned guy coming in, like, like acting like he's big shit, big dick, coming
Wow.
into this place. Yeah. So like, I really didn't get a warm reception from these guys, because I was from the uptown part of Jamaica. 95% of these guys were from the ghetto. So like they related with each other. I was like the lone wolf on the team. And I was like, I didn't like that. I wasn't really in my element.
Right.
So I was like, all right,
Like,
what?
before you tell me more, I just have a question about the mindset that you were up against, like, and how, you have a vision of what can be, but their experiences are different than yours. So how did you reconcile that mindset, or what advice could you give to people to reconcile how to even navigate being in spaces like that for yourself and for whoever else might be in a similar situation?
Yeah, you know what? Have an open mindset, because like some of these guys, they grew up in the most rough surroundings. Like some of these guys, when they came to training, like they didn't have proper shoes, they had holes in their shoes. And at the time, I mean, I understand it no, but like at the time, I'm like, yo, like you're playing pro, but like you have holes in your shoes. Like I couldn't really understand it, you
Right.
know. I didn't really have an open mind to that. I was like, you know what? Um, you know, I'm here to play some ball. I'm not trying to be making friends with anybody. These guys, they don't like me anyways. So why am I gonna try and like, talk to these guys? You know?
Right.
But I was the person that was on the outside coming into their community. I should have been more open. I should have, opened up myself to them more to
Yeah.
show them that side of me, but it I was a bit close-minded at the time.
Yeah.
But I would encourage anybody, like if they're going into a situation like that, to just be open. You may not necessarily come from that circumstance, but you never know what somebody's going through, you know,
And you could learn from anybody.
and they could learn from them. Because here's the thing, like I learned, well, one of the players, they're up here now, and I learned, with retrospect to that time, I learned so much stuff about the other players. Like he would tell me, like some of these guys, like they'll literally escape like gun battles
Wow.
before they came to training. So like this was their only way out, and you could see it in the way that they played on the field, because these guys would go hard. All of these guys wanted contracts to go to Europe. That was the only way out. That was the only way out. For me, I wanted to try and make money. So like when Harborview, when they were like offering me like a contract, I was like, yo, what the hell is this? It was pittance, right? It was pittance, not knowing that Harborview was the number one feeder team that would get me onto the Jamaican national team.
Oh wow.
But
But
I was like,
that's what you wanted.
that's what I want. But I was like, yo, I can't do it this way. I was like, I can't, like me, all I kept thinking about was the money, and all I kept thinking about was the fame. You know, them calling me up from maybe MLS, or them calling me up maybe from Europe. That's how I wanted to do it.
Yeah. Wow.
So I mean, hated my time there. So, spoke to my agent, and I was like, look, man, we can't do this. And also I was injured at the time as well. I had gotten injured. And so he's like, look, all right, you're a Canadian resident, no? So I was like, yeah. So he's like, go to Canada, do some x-rays, do some therapy, and then we're gonna have you play in the local league in Canada. And then yeah, we'll have you go to Europe from there. So I was like, all right, cool, bet. He had hooked me up with a team called Toronto, Croatia. I don't know if you ever heard about them.
No.
Right. Now, Toronto, Croatia, they have a very, very rich history in the Canadian Soccer League here. That's a semi-professional league that they played in. Famous guy by the name of Eusebio used to play on that team. He's a Portuguese guy, a black Portuguese guy, right?
Okay.
Very, very, very prolific player. So, came to Canada. My dream was to just play ball and ball out, but I had to do my x-rays first because when I went to the doctors in Jamaica and I did my x-ray, they thought that I had cancer by my pubic symphysis. Yeah. That's what one of the doctors were saying. Yeah. He had looked at the x-ray and he's like, look, this bone is eroding right here. So it may be cancer. So I was like, what? Yeah.
He's just having a stream of consciousness with your freaking results. What do you
Yeah. I was coming in, to get the results to say, look, man, you just need like 2 weeks rest, like take some ibuprofen and you're good.
Guy, he can't just drop that on you.
He dropped that news on me real hard. And I was like, and you know what? The look on his face was just so stoic. He's like, yeah, that's the deal. You better come back for some tests. You better come back for some, blood work and all that stuff. Urinalysis.
Like, no, that's messed up. I don't think this is when we talk about the racialization of our medical system. It's
right.
Like that. You don't just drop that on somebody. If that's happening to you, pay attention to it. Complain. Write down the date and complain. I know it's different now. It's in retrospect.
Yeah.
That's wrong.
Yeah, that was it. So my dad used to be an MD, right? So I went to my dad and I showed him the X-ray. I was like, yo, what the hell is going on here? And he looked at it and he's like, get a second opinion. Wow. So that's when we had decided to go to Canada. And went to the doctors and did some physiotherapy. Long story short, I didn't have cancer in my pubic symphysis. I didn't have any kind of cancer, right? So, was on the mend to, get back on my feet and to start back my professional career. So, tried out with Toronto, Croatia. Now, Toronto, Croatia, they were a team of obviously predominantly Croatians or predominantly white Canadians as well too. Mm-hmm. So basically, Croatians would fly in from Croatia. They'll play on the team, and they also had their nucleus of Croatian players that I don't know if you know Streetsville in Mississauga.
Yeah.
So a lot of Croatians live around there. That's like little Croatia around there. So their team would mainly comprise of those type of players. Okay. So and they had a quota at the time to only have 3 black players on the team. Right? Yeah. So at the time, they had 2 black players and they were looking for another black player. They didn't really say Ainsley. We're looking only for 1 more black player. So you may have a chance.
No,
but I found this out after. Huh?
That would be against the human rights code.
Yeah. But they kind of did have a way of like saying it, but like, they kind of massaged it in. But I was like, all right, cool. So the 2 other black guys that were on the team, they were black, obviously. And one of them was from Trinidad and one was from Jamaica. Alberta and Aiden. So they were like, look, man, you may have a very good shot on this team. If you ball up, you could be that third black person on the team, right? So that was nothing to like rejoice about. Like they were like making it seem as if it's something that you should really push towards. To achieve.
Black person on the team.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, cool. God. But went to that training, went to the trials, and just bombed it out, man.
What?
Yeah, not as in did really well. Bombed it out. Yeah, they really balled up. So the coach at the time on the team, his name was Velimir. Um, I really got to know that guy, and that guy was just, he was like I would say at the time, I would say he was like an uncle to me, a really nice guy. He had took me in. Um, he tried to get me to stay on the Croatian compound or like where they were housing their Croatian players, but like long story short, like they didn't want me there because I was black, but like he had to say something else. Yeah,
This was
yeah,
happening in Canada, right?
happening in Canada. Happening in Canada. But I was just so happy to play ball. I was like, look, man, look, like I'll settle for anything. Ended up staying in a basement apartment in Etobicoke around the Humberline area, right? Yeah. Her name was, I don't even, no, the owners were, his name was Sergit Candola, right? Yeah.
Local spot, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, ended up playing for Croatia. And I came here in 2009, right? So, um, played for the team, played, I don't remember, but played many years for Croatia. Played up until maybe like 2017 or 2016.
Yeah.
During those years, we won maybe 3 championships or 4 championships. Uh, we went to Croatia. We went to Croatia maybe on 2 or 3 occasions. We won 2 national championships, right? Playing that tournament. And we had a couple of players on that team that gotten like trials to like go to Europe, other places of Europe, right? So it was a pretty successful career looking back, but there were a couple of disappointing moments, or there were a couple of moments where, with retrospect, we're looking back. I really, really think that I could have pushed myself more, right? I mean, my first year playing for Toronto, Croatia, I had somebody that had approached me to say, look, man, you have a chance to go to Singapore. We can take it to Singapore. You just say yes. You just say when, right? And I turned it down, right? Because at the time I was like, I was so sick and tired of like moving up and down. I went from Miami to Atlanta to Jamaica, coming here to Canada. So I just wanted some kind of stability, right? Furthermore, I was like, all right, I'm building some kind of life here. I had gotten a job at the Woodbine Casino. I was making some form of money, because before that it was terrible, man. Like I was living paycheck to paycheck. The money wasn't right, but I just wanted to play ball, right? So when I started making money at the casino, I was like, all right, this is the life that maybe I could live. Because my coach was like, look, man, you can play your whole career here. You can have a job. You can play until you're 37, 38. Life will be good for you. Life will be good for you, right? So not knowing that, he just wanted me here because, it would further the legacy of Toronto, Croatia. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah, it would better the legacy of Toronto, Croatia. And I forgot about my aspirations and dreams in the process.
Wow.
In 2011, we went to Croatia and we played a tournament. Now, in this tournament, before the tournament, I told my boys, my friends, Hayden and Berto, I was like, look, man, I'm not coming back here. I'm not coming back to Canada. This is my one chance to try and make it. And I'm just going to leave everything on the field. I'm going to leave everything on the paint, right? So, played some exceptional football in Croatia at that time in 2011 when we won the whole tournament.
It's amazing.
And there were a couple of teams that were interested in me, but I remember that these guys, they didn't want to get rid of me because, I guess I was just one of their players that they would just show off,
Yes.
you know? Yeah, I was one of their players. And, I lost a lot of respect for the team at the time. And I didn't really take football as serious after that. This was in 2011, and I was about 26 or 27. I still played ball for a number of years, but it just didn't feel the same again.
Right.
And after that time, I started to drink more. I started to party more with friends. I started to live that life. It was still good because, I was still a semi-professional player, but I lost discipline, so to speak, because I had to work. you
Right.
know, and I took my eye off the prize. During that process, like I lost myself in women. I lost myself in just not even having like any kind of like direction,
Yeah.
right? Or any kind of like template. I had no role models. I had nothing like that, right? My
Right.
sister was here at the time. She was trying to navigate her way through life as well too. And we link up and we'll see each other from time to time. But you know, my life from 24 to maybe like 30 was just all about partying, was all about like trying to get girl, trying to smash. You
Had a
know,
good run, 24 to 30. That's a good run. So how
mhm.
did you hang up the pimp boots?
How did I have a oh well. It kind of sort of started at the age of 30 when I was working at the casino. I wanted more at the casino. Like, here I was still on the front line. I was a player developmental host. No, not a player developmental host. Rather, I was a marketing coordinator at the casino.
Yes.
And I was like, look, man, I got demoted to back to player services representative. I got demoted. And that's where I kind of got red pilled, so to speak. Whereas like, I was really questioning, asking myself some questions. And I was like, look, man, what's going on with your life right now? I never thought about 5 years down the line. Never. I always thought, I swear to you, from the ages of 24 to maybe 30, I thought that I would die young. I thought that I would maybe die in my 30s, in
That's
my
so
early
interesting.
30s.
I was gonna die at 25.
Huh?
I always thought I was gonna be dead by 25.
There you go. There you go. One of the reasons being, when I was back at FIU, my final year, I had a medical, and so we had to do medicals before we played soccer, right? So the doctor basically, when I did the medical, I had to go to and do an EKG.
Yes.
Basically, the doctor had told me, look, man, if if you do not control your pressure, your blood pressure, you're gonna be dead by 30. And I
Damn.
never took her serious. Yeah, she gave me a bunch of pills to take, and I was like, look, man, can I just play soccer? That's all I had asked her. When she told me that, I was like, can I play soccer? She's like, we're gonna play it to play soccer. We're gonna clear it to play soccer. I was like, all right, cool, bet. And I never really took my health. I didn't do any like I didn't take my health serious. I didn't ask myself those serious questions, not until maybe I was around 30. And I
Right.
was like, look, man, like you need to change something. And that's when I started pumping weights. That's when I started to maybe eat a bit cleaner. And that's when I started to be like, you know what, you need to at least show for something that, you've been here for like 6 years now. What do you have? You had nothing.
Right.
I think I was still in a basement apartment. I was trying to make ends meet, but like I didn't really have great credit. I mean, I was, you know,
And you were 30, right?
yeah, but I had a 550 credit score and I was in debt,
Yeah.
and I had no clue about, the credit system here.
So how did you go from there to running such a successful exporting or importing?
Eh,
Or both?
Well, we're doing both now. So, you know,
That's a big jump.
it was a big jump. It was a big jump. So, when I left the casino, I felt that I wasn't appreciated, and I was like, you know what? Let me just try and start my own business, right? Let me just leave this place because I wanted to leave that place. I didn't feel that I was valued enough.
Yeah.
So I left that place to go, pursue my entrepreneurial endeavors. Um, Entrepreneurship at the time for me was doing stuff like painting to bouncing, which was really, really fun, by the way. It was really, really fun, by the way. I don't know if you've never heard about Cold Tea, though, right?
Who?
Cold Tea, a place in
Oh,
downtown called
no.
Cold Tea, an
No. Is it
apartment
the spot?
21.
Oh,
Yeah,
apartment
wicked
21.
spot.
Yes.
Yeah,
Apartment.
man. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So I used to like
What
bounce
kind of
at those
vibe?
places.
Okay.
Wicked, yeah. So, you know, my so this was around in 2018. My tip at the time, because I was $40,000 in debt with a 550 credit score.
And you said I'm going to become an entrepreneur?
And I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm just gonna make the jump. I knew I had, I knew I had like some money, for I guess RSP or like whatever, like
Wow, you took a real risk. You invested fully into yourself and you
I,
took
I
risks.
probably had about like $10,000 or $12,000
Okay.
Yeah, that I would take out from there and just like try and just invest in myself and just try and build my career,
So how
right?
did
So
you do, like, what was some of the first things that you did?
so yeah, so I did bouncing, and
Right.
my first thing that I wanted to do was just to make money. And so bouncing was the perfect thing to do at the time, because when I worked at the doors, people would slip me like a 20 here or $30 there, and I'm like, yo, I
Bouncers
could,
oh, to
woo!
get
They
in.
were, to get in, because
Okay.
it was free to go into certain clubs,
Okay.
right? And these guys, they didn't want to like stay in line. Like these guys wanted to impress their girls, and like, so they'll slip me like $100 there or maybe a $40 there. So yeah, so there are times when I would walk out with probably like maybe $1,200, and I'm like, yo, I could do this. The music was really, really like monotonous. You hear the same shit. Yeah, you see the same people, the same industry people. So like I got tired of that, but I was like, you know what? Here's my objective. I'm $40,000 in debt. I need to start making money. So I started saving up a whole bunch of money, started making money, and I was like, yes, I'm making bank. But realized that
And
I needed to
you were paying off the debt as
paying
you.
off debt, saving, trying to like do something for myself. At the time now I was at a condo.
Okay.
Yeah, staying at
Okay.
a condo with,
Fun.
well, Tucana with my boy.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Tucana with my boy. So things were heading in the right direction. Things were heading in the right direction, and I had my eye on the prize. Like I really wasn't into the partying. I really wasn't into like the chilling. I really wasn't into the drinking. I was just all about my money, but still felt a void. The guy that I was working for, really cool guy. His name is Hai. Um,
His name
you
is
know,
Hi.
his name is Hai. Hai.
Okay.
Yeah, really cool guy. He had taken me in to start the whole bouncing thing, but he wanted me to be there for a while because he was building his business, and he had amassed probably about 20 or 25 bouncers to work for him, and he was just making bank too. But like I was really loyal to him because I went from cold tea, which was probably from 12 o'clock to maybe 8 o'clock, and then from cold tea we'll go to apartment 21, which was from 10 o'clock until like 2:30, and this was it like without fail every weekend, and sometimes during the weekdays. So told High that I wanted to like pursue something else because I still didn't feel fulfilled. So a friend of mine who I used to work with, a colleague of mine, her ex-husband did deliveries for a pharmaceutical company. So I was like, all right, you know what? She, she was always telling me that I should work for him to try and start up something, try and start up my own business. So I was like, all right, let me just take you up on your offer. So, um, went to him and I started working for him and started doing a lot of hours for him, right? Started making bank for him. Long story short, this guy was stealing money from me.
From
Yeah,
you.
so he would pay me. Yeah, so he would pay me. Long story short, this guy was stealing money from me. I was like, yo, we can't have this. So the person who he was contracted to
Yeah.
was the parent company. So I started doing business with the parent company as a contractor.
Okay.
Started off doing work for them, but they were so impressed by my work, they had offered me a route to own. So when you own that route, you basically lease your truck or you purchase a truck, and then they give you your goods and then you make deliveries. Right. So this was like my personal business. So I had to incorporate my business, their quality services incorporated. I had to get an accountant and all of these things. So they were like, so I was like, all right, cool, we're heading somewhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, started their quality services incorporated, had my own truck, and I was like, all right, delivering pharmaceutical goods. This was a six-figure paying job, by the way.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
How far you came from $40,000 in debt?
I know. So I started started busting my ass. I was like, you know what? Because I saw a pathway. I was like, all right, there are guys here. There's some guys that owns 2 and 3 routes. I wonder if I could own 5 or 6 rounds. So that was my mentality. I was like, you know what? Because I don't want to work here. I want people to work for me while I do other stuff.
So would you say soccer gave you a mentality to kind of see the field of life in a particular way, and you know how to? Were you tactical, or were you a defense person?
I was a defensive player, but I had attack too.
Yeah.
Right? Soccer kind of was, yeah, but I mean, it for me, it was just all about just looking to prove people wrong, because I felt that I was a failure. I felt that I had so much to prove. Like so many people were betting against me, And I was like, you know what? There was so much more that I had to give to society. Like I felt that way. I never felt satisfied with my life, but like I always kept suppressing things. And it I had, indulged in women, and I tried to suppress it with women and all of those things, right?
The thirst is real.
The third the thirst is real for women too.
Yeah.
But yeah. But so I was like, you know what? I can own 5, 6, 7 roads, and I could make my money there. And I was like, look, man, that's how I can make some money. That's how I can make the big leagues. So the guy that had owned the company was a Croatian too. Coincidence, yeah. He saw me busting my ass, and word on the street or word inside the building was that he didn't like the way how I was just bombing things. Yeah. So you know his subordinates or his people, like, they wanted to give me more routes, and I gotten another route. I gotten 2 routes, and I gotten 2 people to work for me. Mind you, I had to like train these guys that didn't want to work for me at first. I had to convince them. I had to give them some kind of vision
Yeah.
of where we were heading, and I really had put in time and effort into this place.
Yes.
Long story short, it didn't work out with me and this company here. This guy, I believe, I wouldn't say he was jealous, but like he also embezzled from me as well too, stole money from me as well too. He was very, 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 very slick with his mouth. He didn't want to do any kind of contractual agreement, and some of the stuff that he would tell you, he would say, "Look, man, my word is bond." And me being naive, would take his word for things. And then, when you confront him and approach him about things and be like, "Look, you said this at this time," he'd be like, "What are you talking about?" Right? With a smirk on his face too, huh? With a
Oh,
smirk
wow.
on his face too. Yeah,
People with the test, huh?
yeah.
Oh my
So I
God.
was like, you know what? Yeah. So I ended up having to like get rid of my 2 guys that were working for me. They ended up working for him, right? And I had to get rid of my trucks, which had kind of put me back a bit.
Okay.
And it had set me back.
Was this around the time that the pandemic was upon us?
Yes. Right before the pandemic had hit. Right before the pandemic had hit. So, actually around the pandemic. Actually around the pandemic. Yeah, around the pandemic. It was March of 2020.
Okay,
Yeah.
like it just hit for real.
Yeah, it had just hit for real. So like everything was just like new to me, because I was like, all right, I was on this trajectory. I was, supposed to be making bank. I was supposed to have people work for me. And now we're in the middle of a pandemic. I have no money. I've taken a small hit, and I don't know what I'm gonna do. So for a while I was doing Instacart, for a while I was doing Uber, for a while I was doing corner shop, and I was trying to make some money, trying to
You're
figure
a
out what my next steps
hustler,
were.
man. You're
Hey
a
man,
hustler.
I was on hustle mode. I was on hustle mode. And you know, I during the time, probably around January of that year, 2020, I was telling my bro, look, I have trucks. He does distribution in England. And I was like, bro, I have trucks. Let's try and make something happen. Let me do some. He would import products from Jamaica, and he would distribute it, or he'll have a distribution network of people, distributing certain goods from Jamaica, right? So I would harp on my bro, look, man, let's do something, let's do something, let's do something. He'd never get back to me. He was like, all right, I'm busy. Let's talk about it one day. Whilst doing Instacart, he had called me to say, look, Jay, because they call me JJ, that's my pet name.
Okay.
He's like, look, man, I have a product that will want to try out maybe in the Canadian market, right? They're the Buccaneer rum cakes, so these things right here,
Yes,
my
yes.
flagship product. And he's like, look, man, we're gonna test it out in the market here, and we're gonna see how things go from there, right? So he brought me up some samples. We had tested it out in the market, and then the stores in Jamaica had loved it, right? So not stores in Jamaica, but the stores in the GTA had loved it, right? So we're gonna test it out right there.
Well, there's a lot of Jamaicans here.
A lot of Jamaicans here. So while I was at the stores now, and I would look at the shelves, I'd be like, yo, the shelves are empty. Like what's going on? Like this is an easy business. Like, I can make serious money doing this. I was like, so I'm thinking about, yeah, I can have this here, I can have that here, I can have like all kind of stuff. Not knowing that during this pandemic, people are going through serious supply chain issues.
Right.
right? Yeah. So, you know, so I'll go to like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 stores, and I'm like, yo, there's nothing here. Like I could be the person that really like opens that door.
Wow.
So, you know, I was like, bro, bring up about 100 of these cases, right? So he ordered like a whole bunch of these cases for me. I needed to pay the money up front because at the time, Honeybun, those are the people that I was doing the distribution for. I needed to build a rapport with them first. So I had to fork up money for 100 cases. Boom, just like that. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so when I got the stuff, when I went back to these stores, I realized that the stores were full. Right? They had all kind of Jamaican snacks and treats here. It's just at the time they just didn't have any inventory, they didn't have any stock.
Right.
So I'm like, all right, cool,
Right.
cool.
Try me.
This is
Try
gonna
me.
be yeah, this is gonna be a little bit harder, but you know, knowing me, what I did, no word of a lie, I went literally probably maybe to over like 100 stores and restaurants, door to door. Went to these guys, introduced myself, and I was like, look, we're bringing up unique snacks and treats because I didn't see the good thing was that they didn't have any of these things here. It was different.
Mm.
So went door to door and I was selling them the vision, selling them the dream, telling them what I did. And some of them would try it out on consignment. A lot of them told me no,
Right.
right? And you know, that's how we kind of started. That was the impetus to starting Taste Jamaica, right? So um had gotten rid of the 100 cases. A lot of it I had to give away because at the time it had a 3 month shelf life and time was running out. So I had to give away. So I had taken a loss right there. But also realized that, you know, at these stores that had the same brands, that had the same HTB, that had the same like these kind of brands for buns, the same brands,
Yeah.
Grace. Yeah. So I was like, you know what? I wonder if I could carve a niche for myself where I can bring up unique snacks, right?
What
Um,
snacks do you
that,
carry?
huh?
What kind of snacks do you carry?
Well, the snacks that I carry are well, they're still your everyday snacks, but like they're banana chips, you know, coconut biscuits, like all of those things,
But they're
right?
taste AA.
They're the Taste Jamaica brand. They're the Taste Jamaica brand. So, you know, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to carve like a niche for myself where, you know, I'm bringing up these snacks, but they're in my branding. So what we did is that we had created a marketplace by the name of Taste Jamaica that's online, where we, you know, deliver these said snacks and treats in a care package box to customers all over North America. So we have the B2B aspect and we have the B2C aspect, right?
Okay,
So,
explain B2B and explain B2C for our viewers.
all right, so so B2B, otherwise known as business to business, is where me as the owner goes directly to a business to get my sales, right? So
Okay.
um yeah, so an example in this field right here. So
Yeah.
my customer, my B2B customer would be restaurants or it would be a retailer store. So like your mom and pop shop
Yeah.
or you know a premier store like Loblaws or No Frills or one of those stores, right?
Right.
B2C now is you're selling directly to the customer. So my online platform now, I don't go through B2B customer. I don't do B2B sales, right? I do B2C sales. So I'm going to sell directly to you. And my markup and my margins are higher, right? Which is
Yeah.
always better, yeah. Because you know, when you're selling wholesale, like the margins are thin. The margins are very thin.
Yeah.
So you know, had realized that, and that's why I had started, you know, Taste Jamaica online, you know. So, you know, wanted to try and make money from there like that, right?
Wow.
Um,
You've done
also, you know what? It's going decent. It's going decent. Our flagship product, our rum cakes, they're currently being onboarded into Loblaws right now. That's a whole nother story. But it has been
that's
over a year.
amazing.
It is amazing. It is amazing. And
Congratulations.
it's been over a year though. It's been well over a year
I mean,
to
this is
get the
the entrepreneurial grind.
it's an
What,
what well to onboard the stuff it's been over a year. It's been well over a year.
well, you have perseverance. If anything, your story shows that you have perseverance. Um, Out of everything that you've gone through, when after you told quite the story, it was pretty epic. And there were so many aspects and so many different, like the sporting aspect and the trucking aspect and then the food aspect. Culturally, though, it seems to have been brought with Jamaica's been brought with you through the entire experience.
Pretty much, pretty
Really
much.
speak to the power of Jamaicans and big them up for that still, because
Yeah, man.
their mythology about who they are as a people is very powerful, and it
Very, very
works
powerful.
well. It works
Jamaica is a
well.
brand. Jamaica is a
Jamaica
brand.
is a brand.
Yeah, so I try to leverage that as
Capitalize
much
it,
as
yeah.
possible. Yeah, so
And you saw a problem and you solved it, and that's one of the keys to starting a business, is to
yeah,
solve a problem that you feel you have the solution for.
yes, yes, yes,
Definitely
yes,
done
yes.
that. When
And
you look back, which one stands out to you? I know you're gonna say this one because you're just in it, but like, which one really speaks to who you are
what what do you mean exactly?
in your business, as a soccer player, as the trucking person,
Oh,
in the food now importing business? You know, which one speaks more to who you are, or what brought out the best in you?
I'd say the food. I'll say the food. The soccer, it laid the foundation in terms of developing a mindset to want to win, because when you're playing soccer, obviously you're a competitor.
Yes.
Especially if you're playing semi-professional ball, you see other ballers come in, they're trying to take your position. You have
Yeah.
to be competitive, right? But I didn't really understand it to a science,
Mm.
right? With the trucking, I had used those principles and applied it to, deliver of pharmaceutical goods. But, you know, I didn't really understand what I had up here fully.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I went through my trials and tribulations as an entrepreneur now, doing this stuff now for Taste Jamaica, where I really started to develop like a stoic mindset. I really started to develop the concept of discipline. I really started to develop persistence and thinking about having a long-term mindset and wanting to build and wanting to create and wanting to, build jobs for people and wanting to inspire others.
Yes.
So, having this business is the greatest teacher of life, to be honest with you, because, I've heard so, like, as an entrepreneur, so many people turn you down.
Yeah.
So many people tell you no. So
Yeah.
many banks tell you no. So many people don't believe you. So many people project their limitations onto you.
Yes.
And it can break anybody down. It's not for the faint of heart, right? It's a coveted position. It's a coveted post to have, to be an entrepreneur, but it's not for everybody, and it's not easy. It's not easy whatsoever. So I really had to develop a certain type of iron mindset and a stoic mindset to carry me through, and it has been the wickedest journey, the most fulfilling journey ever, to be honest with you. Like, I would not take anything back, to be honest with you, because the person that I am today is because of all the pain, the trials and tribulations that I've been through. Like, it's just gratifying, to be honest with you.
Well, you're clearly an alchemist, and I big you up and respect you for
Bam,
turning
bam.
for turning this into gold, literally.
Yeah, hey man, that's what we're trying to do. That's what we're trying to do, to be honest with you.
That's
That's what we're trying
amazing.
to do.
So I ask this of everybody: what do you still thirst for in life and in business?
Oh, we're talking about business, right? What we thirst for?
Life
Okay,
and
okay.
for business.
You know what? It's all for me. It's all about leaving a legacy and
Yeah.
impacting others right now, right? So, I mean, like what I said, I want to build,
Yeah.
and I want to set the foundation for, my kids when that time comes,
Right.
for them to have, and for them to, whatever they want to do with it, they can do. But
Right.
I want them, when they look back and when other people look back and they think about my life and they talk about me, right? They're like, look, man, this guy, number one, never gave up. Number two, this guy has integrity. This guy has principles. And because he has that foundation, he has built something to leave with me. And that should mean something, right? Like, I really want to inspire and create value for others. I really, really want to do that, because I want to show people that, look, man, anybody can do it. Anybody can do it. We need to break that generational curse. You see
Yes.
what I'm saying? Like, you know, we need to just, I dare to believe in yourself. I dare you to believe in yourself and to just think about, and it's simple, but it's not, wait, it's, what's the term? What's the saying? It's easy, but it's not simple, or it's simple, but it's not easy.
It's
Either
easier said than done.
or easier said than done. Yeah, easier said than done. Like, I mean, you think about it, like, you're here today because of the trials and tribulations that you've been through, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's you know, you had mentioned that you wanted to be or you were a bodybuilder at one time,
Mm-hmm.
and you had put your mind to it, and you had accomplished it, and throughout that process, and throughout the way, like, you had to overcome certain obstacles, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I mean, it's, you know, whenever we set our mind to do things, and we come across a certain obstacle, or we come across a certain hurdle that we have to jump over, a lot of us give up. A lot of us give up, and a lot of us we don't believe in ourselves enough to know that, we can push the needle. We just need to be the best version of ourselves every single day to just attain it.
That part, the best
Eh,
versions of ourselves
and that
every single day.
and
That part.
yes,
Because,
yes,
man, we expect so much from other people, but we're not looking at what we need to do to show up to continue
absolutely.
that. So, and you have a quote here that said that you really enjoy from Elon Musk. It says, if you're not willing to deal with the ups and downs of entrepreneurship, don't do it.
Yep, don't do it. It's not for you. And it's not going to be for everybody, because, to be honest, I need people to work for me, right? So,
Yeah, true.
but, with that being said, I want to help them to be the best version of themselves. And I'll never keep somebody, um, confined to, like, working for me. Like, I want to help them to be the best version of themselves so that they can spread their wings. Because, to be honest with you, the truth be told, those guys at the pharmaceutical, the contracting for the pharmaceutical goods, they could never hold me back. They could never suppress me. There was no way I would be working here today, there
Right.
today. Like, absolutely no way. So, like, you want to inspire people that way so that they can go on and build their dreams, because I could probably be a stopgap for them. You see
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? So, it's just encouraging people to be the best version of themselves. So, having a healthy mind, having a healthy body, going to the gym,
Yeah.
you know, doing your affirmations, you know, stuff like that. Stuff like that. I really try to encourage.
I love that. Well, I want to know if you're going to be selling Julie Mangles anytime. Because you're like, what's so funny? What's so funny?
Oh man, I'm not even gonna divulge that, to be honest with you. You guys just need to get her book. It's called what? Fuck Boys and Married Men. Oh my god,
It's called
guys!
The Adventures
Wow.
of a Recovering Sex Addict, Volume 1, Married Men and F Boys.
Yes.
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 Have you read it?
I read everything. I read everything on the weekend. I read it in one day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
Yeah. It
awesome.
was quite interesting. All right, so I have one question. So how the name LA Wade, anyways?
LA just stands for Lorianne. And
Oh,
yeah, but it's
and
weird.
Cali?
What's that?
And Cali?
Cali is, well, because they call me LA, I just said Cali. And then I'm a very spiritual
Right.
person, so that's why I liked the double C with Cali Church. And
Okay.
that's how she came into fruition. And she's special. And I had Joseph Bonsu create her with the idea that it could be one day like iconography. I want to like crystallize her in terms of what she represents for, self accountability, self love,
Right.
sexual sovereignty, healing,
Right.
and the possibilities of what our community could be about if we confront ourselves. So that's what Cali Church is all about. And, big up to Banky Designs again, our sponsor here, because they helped in creating the layout of the book. And she worked with me through every step of the way to from like getting the printed to the binding. Everything has been
Yeah.
really great. So if you need somebody to work with to help you put your ideas into fruition, Banky Designs is definitely somebody that I would recommend for you.
Yeah, you know what? Who knows? Eventually that might happen because there's a Jewish proverb that says for men you need to plant a tree, write a book, and grow a boy, grow a son. So I mean, I need to.
I have 2 sons. I've written a book. I'm going to grow a tree. Maybe I'm going to have a
Pla-
stockyard in Jamaica when I go on my cruise in January. I'm going to buy
What?
some property and I'm going to just
You there?
grow up.
Will your Cali alter ego be in full effect when you go to Jamaica?
Can't make any promises. Cali's
Oh,
work. We'll see what happens with Cali. Maybe
jeez.
volume 2, the
What?
Essence of Jamaica, then you already done know what happened.
Oh man, it was a really exciting book, man. Like yeah, props to you, man. Shout out to you, man. Props to you on your book, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's not about me today. It was all about you. Thank you so
hmm
much, Ainsley Deer. Taste JA. Where can we reach you? What's coming up next?
It's at taste.ja if you want to hit me up on Instagram. My website is www.tasteja.ca. You can DM me or you can call me. Well, I'm not even gonna give you my phone number, but
Well, you having people calling you for different reasons.
yeah. We have a few events coming up in December.
Okay.
We have one in Waterloo. I don't remember the names, but one in Waterloo, and we have another one that's going to be in Toronto
Sweet.
in December in a few weeks. To be honest, I just don't remember the names. But we also do have our Christmas package box that we're selling right now, where you get banana chips, you get a 2-pound rum cake, you get two sorrel ginger juices, you get tamarind balls, you get a smoked Scotch bonnet pepper sauce, smoked Scotch bonnet pepper salt.
What does that go for?
It's $110 including shipping.
That's really good.
Yes.
gift.
Yeah.
I know I have to buy 2. For 2 families that I already know.
Oh, hey man, I'm here. Yeah, I'm here. So we will deliver it to you guys anywhere in North America. Our banana chips just got launched this week. It's gonna be in Jersey.
I
It's
wish I
gonna be
was
in
trying them.
Toronto. Oh, we gonna give you some. Don't worry. We have our Taste Jamaica coconut biscuits.
Nice.
That are being launched as well too in Jersey and in Jamaica, and you have our other stuff. You can just go onto www.tasteja.ca to check out all of our stuff that we have right now.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
This was
Yeah.
amazing. We had a great, intimate yet sobering conversation. You're a wonderful storyteller. I literally felt like I was guided through your life with everything that you've done and inspired tremendously. Thank you, Ainsley, for being in the Cocktail Hour. Big up
Thank
to
you.
Business Takeout. I hope we have inspired Black wealth, Black entrepreneurship.
Wicked, yes.
Thank you, Designs, and we will see you next Monday in the Cocktail Hour. I'm your host, LA Wade. See you next time.
Boom. Thank you, LA.
Please stick around.
Yeah, man.
If you enjoy our programming and want to help support Black entrepreneurship, please donate today. www.businesstakeout.com/donate.